Hello there. Today we're going to talk about the 20.1 release, which has just been rolled out. My name is Stuart Guthrie. I'm the co-CEO of Polonious with Alistair. And I just want to work through some of the major features of the new release, primarily the flexible case view. We built an entire workbench layout manager for you. We've got a whole bunch of ways you can manipulate how your different case views work. We believe it's going to give you a lot more flexibility about what information your investigators need to see front and center, and as the page scrolls down, incorporate other pieces that are also useful for different parts of the case. Okay, so we'll just flip over now and have a look at our current case view. So the current case view, as you know, has a lot of flexibility already. You can change the language element names, you can remove and hide things depending on people's security. There's a whole bunch of useful quick action buttons at the top here that let you do things. You can see people on the case, you can see various other things like organisations and cars and things related to the case. What we've tried to do with the new view is give you control over how this looks and enable you to put the information in the best possible place. So we'll just go and have a look at the new case view. The other thing we've tried to do is preserve, in all cases, that you can get back to the original case view just by pressing one of these menu options at the top here. So view takes you back to the old case view if you want to see if anything's missing or check on something. So in the new case view, as you can see, you can divide your world up into, these things are called widgets. Each area lets you define a different piece of data and details about that data that you want to appear there. So in this case, what we've done is we've centralized the main case details, and we put the subjects of investigation as a bunch of card files over here on the left, and the investigations team over here on the right. And all of the information you would expect to see is here, even things like the drop-down menus to do various searches on John Doe. We've also got things like the current cases and the total cases that they've been through. You'll also notice that you can do some emphasis work on various fields you want to show. Some of the fields have had the background changed and the font color changed to white. Others have had the font color changed to red. Others have just been left alone. You can also make field sizes bigger, which we'll see as we scroll down. So just going over this view, these options here take you back to all the things you might need to do. So they take you back to, say, update the case in the way you expect, and they take you to things like permalinks and various other things. So also things like actions you can fire straight off from here. As you go down the page though, you see each of these widgets. There's 3 on the first row, there's another 3 on the second row, and these 3 literally just have a single field in each because it's quite a big piece of information often on a case. This is the main allegation in this particular case type, the plan for the investigator, and the red flags that you've spotted from either a claims officer or an analytics system could drop information there, and I've colorized that red just to show it up. Further down, we've got organizations involved in the case. And again, you can do things like, if they have the ability to do searches and other capabilities, they can just be drop downs. And the other people involved in the case, so back office support people, for example. And things that have gone on in the case. And as you float over here, you can see, we can see what's happened at various times. And I've broken that into investigative actions and administrative actions just to show you that you can have different things happening over timelines, which is nice. This next row is basically to show how you can break up and emphasize certain parts of the case data you've got. In this case, this is kind of the quality row. So we've scored this case and we've represented those scores in a radar chart. And then we've also incorporated the primary note that they took as part of this quality review. This next row emphasizes the ability to create bar graphs and charts and let you look around the system based on numerical information. So I put the numerical measures here, and then over there you can see we've got the same data but represented 2 different ways. This is the case insured, the excess, and the case claim amount, and the same thing represented as bar graphs. Not necessarily what you want to do, but some people prefer bar graphs to pie charts, etc. The next area that I've got is the media viewer, which lets you see different scene photos, as you can see, or if you prefer, you can show videos. And the next area is major cases. So basically for any one case, you can show it in its major minor hierarchy, and you can show whichever columns you want across the thing here. And this last one here is actually a time series graph. So it's actually showing any time during the case that values have been added. As you can see, I'm just hovering over and I'm seeing what happened on a particular date and time. So this can help you track, for example, this top line might measure budget, and these other ones might measure how much time you spent towards that budget. And you can get to colorize, you can get to name series and colorize them and have them any metric on the system capable of representing that. So let's just go now and have a look at how that's put together. So this particular case view in my system is called the investigation view, and you'll see the top row here, there's these funny little icons, disk drives and people. These are widgets that you can grab from the left hand side, and you can literally just drag over and place onto, like in this case I've just taken a contacts widget and dropped it onto row 2. What I can then do is I can just configure that widget. I'll actually look at some we've already created, but I can then move any of these around. I can say this goes on row 3, not row 2, or I can just discard it. So let's have a look at subjects of investigation. And in here, this is the one where you saw at the very top of our screen, we're looking for things like subjects and victims and respondents and claimants, etc. And we're interested in just showing one card per row. So if there were 2, it would make the row go down. But we could show 2 side by side if there was a lot of space. In this case, when we're talking about, this is also where you can give it a heading, make the heading large, small, left, right, justify, and a size. In this case, we're using 1/3 of the layout. So just to show you where that goes in the actual layout, that's this guy here. So he's a respondent, which is one of the people we've asked to see and if the roles we wanted included in this little widget. And the heading is subjects of investigation. As you can see, subjects of investigation. And so we're literally building piece by piece by adding widgets onto the layout. We're building what we want our case view to look like. All of these different components have different capabilities. And if you click on any one of them, for example, probably one of the more capable ones is the field list widget. You'll see you can drag and drop fields from the case. You can tell us where you want the labels, left, above, no label, responsive. You can give additional details, so you can change, this is where we've been changing the colors. Background color, slate gray, font color white, and so on. And then in our actual case view, that's where we get this kind of effect. For example, for date fields, case date for review, we've given it a nicer label, and we picked from a number of formats that you can use to say, well, this one has date times, I'd rather see that. I want to see the day of week, etc., etc. And we've given it a font color for the date for review, so that's gone red, just for emphasis. So as you can see, there's an awful lot of flexibility, and in a further series I'll go into a lot more detail. But that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed.